So Roman numeral 5 is the report of the superintendent, and the first item is the superintendent's update as usual. I just wanted to say good evening to everyone, Chairman Parker, all of the school committee members, and everyone at home. I hope you all enjoyed the holiday weekend as much as we enjoyed welcoming back all of our students today from K to 5 for in-person learning. So tonight's update has several different components and reflects the changing nature of this school year. We are going to cover a lot of ground, from Crimson Tide Athletics to district-wide fundraising efforts, and also to essential information about the rollout of in-person learning. So we are going to dive right in with our first bright spot of the evening. And that speaks to our guests that we have this evening. So I wanted to congratulate Kaverian student Aliana Anamaduris for earning honorable mention in this year's Massachusetts Partnership for Youth's Poster and Public Service Announcement, so the PSA project. And at this time, I would like to bring forward Margie Daniels from Massachusetts Partnership for Youth and Aliana, along with her family, to be presented with this amazing award.
I'll make a motion to bring Aliana and all the guests as well.
I'll second.
A second.
Okay, on this motion made and second to bring them forward, if I could just get a thumbs up. Thank you. If our guests could please come forward, please.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Superintendent. I want to say what an honor and privilege it is to be here before the Everett School Committee. I've been here, this is a new superintendent that I know you're delighted to be working with. I've heard such wonderful things. And I just want to let you know that through the years, I've been a guest at the Everett School Committee meeting many times for this exact purpose. The Everett Public Schools has had a huge presence in Massachusetts Partnerships for Youth, both public service announcement contest and the poster project for many, many years. And aside from your great participation in our contests, so many people attend our webinars and our in-service trainings. So I really want to compliment you on the way that your staff is utilizing the services that we provide regarding prevention and intervention in matters of health and safety for youth. We have over 200 members across Massachusetts now, and I can very honestly say that Everett is absolutely one of my favorite districts. So it's really a pleasure to be here tonight. The contest was very, very well received in Massachusetts. We had, I think, slightly over 215 entries. So to receive an honorable mention in that group of very, very excellent entries is fabulous. We had an unbiased group of judges participate. They did not know what districts the students came from. We had school administrators, we had police chiefs, we had representatives in terms of psychologists, social workers, guidance counselors, and some people also from the business world joined us too. So we had a robust group of judges. The contest this year, the theme of it was "We Stand Together," which we felt was a very, very appropriate topic this year with the racial reckoning that's going on very appropriately in the United States, and really putting an emphasis on how we can come together to support each other. We certainly have been through a tough year with the pandemic, and I'm so happy to hear that you're opening up again. My own grandchildren are going back as of today. And I don't know if you want me to show the poster, but it is phenomenal. Absolutely. If I hold it up, you see it? So I have to say you have a very, very talented student at the Kaverian School. And I know that Aliana's in the 5th grade, and the teacher is Eric Piazza. So I want to congratulate everyone on behalf of just this wonderful effort. And I wish I could be in person with you, Aliana, to shake your hand and congratulate you, but I want you to know that we're sending you an Amazon gift certificate along with a certificate of achievement. So that should be coming to your mom shortly, if not already. So again, I thank you very much for the honor and pleasure of being here, and congratulations on having such a talented student, and also congratulations to the Everett Public Schools just for your great participation in general. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels, and thank you, Aliana, for being here today with your family. Thank you to Mr. Piazza and to Principal Nauman for also joining us to celebrate with Aliana. So we really appreciate having you here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so now we're going to turn to the basketball court. Coach Riley Dunn and the Crimson Tide girls basketball team captured the 2021 Greater Boston League Championship by defeating hosts Lynn English from 47-41 on Saturday. So this was preceded by dominating victories over Somerville and Medford in the quarterfinals and semifinals, respectively. The boys team also made it to Saturday's title game versus Lynn English, falling to the Bulldogs by just 4 points, 75-71. So I wanted to congratulate Coach Stanley Chamberlain and his team for an exceptional season that was punctuated by dominating wins over Revere and Lynn Classic in their 2 playoff wins prior to Saturday's game. I would also like to mention the senior members of our basketball team who played in their final games in the Crimson over the weekend. So Maya Kernan and Ashley Fitzgerald for Coach Dunn's team, Kevin Arist, Edwin Francois, Rove Bryce, and Juvens Lewis for the boys. And, you know, of all the positives of being able to play, even in a modified sports season, you know, our seniors are definitely at the top of that list. Every senior should get to see their high school careers come to an end where they should, on the court, on the field, on the ice. So we were so happy that they were able to finish out their season. In that light, I did want to also remind everyone that Crimson Tide hockey team will hold its senior night tomorrow prior to its game versus Lynn at the Veterans Memorial Rink. We will try to live stream the senior night on our EHS athletics website. The broadband access inside the rink may not allow for this, but we are doing our best, and we will most definitely post a recording of the senior night festivities in the game on Wednesday after, if we're not able to live stream it. I just also want to thank our TV studio crew who helps us here tonight and with those live streaming of our sporting events. So that includes Josh Delgazo, Bill Munier, and Joseph Camley for live streaming all of our games during the winter season and helping support us here at the school committee meetings. So as many of you know, Friday, April 2nd was World Autism Awareness Day, and EPS celebrated the event on Thursday as there was no school on Good Friday. Countless teachers and staff members and students wore blue on Thursday to commemorate World Autism Awareness Day. And in addition, hundreds of our employees joined an annual Jeans Day fundraiser organized by EPS educator Stephen Patenaude in honor of his son, Nate. So proceeds will directly benefit the New England Center for Children and the Sunday Swim program, which offers classes for our children with special needs. I just want to thank everybody who participated in last week's fundraising and awareness efforts. They are so meaningful, and I think they're, you know, encouraging indicators that we're getting back to doing things that help define our mission and values. I also wanted to take the opportunity to announce that the district is planning a slate of activities for a full week from April 26th through May 1st to promote awareness and understanding of the disabilities of our students while also recognizing and celebrating their unique abilities as well. So we're in the process of planning our schedule, and we will share complete details when they are finalized. So next is a brief update on a creative fundraiser we held on Wednesday, March 31st called Checks and Pearls Day. So the effort generated tremendous district-wide participation and a significant number of donations for the Waves Club's Period project. So EHS medical assistant instructor Desiree Peary introduced the idea, and staff throughout the district wore their sneakers or pearls last Wednesday, and those who participated were asked to make a donation to the Period project through the online wish list that the Wave Club has established. So people could also join the effort by wearing purple to represent justice and dignity, or green to signify hope. And like any successful fundraiser, the biggest benefactor was that worthy cause, which in this case was the Period Project, which advisors Amanda Gill and Nicole Capra talked about during our last school committee meeting. And as they mentioned, again, this project is because of the lack of access to feminine hygiene products, which then has adverse effects on females related to their confidence, health, and education. And the Period Project is designed to directly help address that issue. So in recent weeks, and culminating with the Checks and Pearls Day, the Wave Club has received enough donations to make 3,650 period kits. So donations came from innumerable EPS and City of Everett employees and friends and family. And special thanks as well to the Elliott Family Resource Center and the employees and members of CrossFit Route 1 for their particularly generous donations. Checks and Pearls Day was also the culminating event of our Women's History Month, which the Wave celebrated with a series of different events, which can also be found at the web address that is listed above and on our website. So today, or actually last week, was our first week of full-time in-person teaching and learning as we brought back our students in our substantially separate classrooms. And, you know, it was really exciting and energizing to be in those buildings and get to experience, you know, the bustle of the buildings, which has in many senses been absent for quite a long time. You know, we've lost an indescribable amount during the pandemic, but I feel like we're finally beginning to fill those voids, recapture routines, and feel the buzz and excitement of being in a school building that's full of staff and students as they are meant to be. The feedback we're receiving from teachers about their students returning to school was very positive last week, and then today when we welcome back K-5, the students are just so thrilled to be back. They're transitioning well into their new routines, and it is clear that they've been long awaiting these moments. And I just wanted to thank our teachers who are not only focusing on the protocols, procedures for safety, but on academics and also on the social, emotional well-being of their students as they move from remote learning to in-person instruction. I know this is an incredibly, you know, they're just doing so many different things right now, our teachers, and I feel like they're handling all of them so well, and we just appreciate so much how much they are doing to support our students and to make our transition back to school seamless. So I have a couple of important updates. So this is a reminder for our Everett High School families. We are hosting a free virtual FAFSA information session or sessions on Wednesday, April 14th from 3 to 7 p.m. Parents and guardians can visit the address listed above and reserve a one-on-one FAFSA appointment with an advisor from the Massachusetts Educational Opportunity Center. So the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, is the form that families use to apply for financial aid for college. And I definitely implore families to take advantage of these sessions to help learn about, you know, this important and sometimes very stressful and complicated process. So it'll be great to be able to get, you know, one-on-one support for the FAFSA. So this event is being organized by the Everett High School Guidance Department in conjunction with the Educational Opportunity Center and Massachusetts Education and Career Opportunities, which is the Commonwealth's largest provider of community-based education and career readiness services for our underrepresented middle and high school students and adults. So this upcoming week, we are hosting our second round of English Language Parent Advisory Committee meetings, or ELPAC meetings of the year. So the Haitian Creole ELPAC will meet on Tuesday, so tomorrow, followed by the Portuguese meeting on April 7th, and the meeting that will occur in Spanish on April 8th, all beginning at 6 p.m. via Zoom. This slide actually was created and designed by an officer from our Spanish ELPAC, Yuri Yepes, which she will present on Thursday at her meeting to highlight the importance of family involvement and parent engagement. You know, it is very important to highlight that, you know, the ELPAC is going exactly as we had hoped that it would, and that this week's agendas were actually developed by the ELPAC officers, and they reflect the wishes of their linguistic communities and the information that they want to receive from us and the conversations they want to have. So the officers actually met with the EPS family liaisons to discuss the most requested topics that they're hearing from their communities and to ensure that the agendas are as relevant as possible. So for example, the Spanish officers requested an EHS guidance counselor to discuss the social emotional supports that will be available for students once they return. The Haitian Creole officers asked Special Education Director William Donahue to talk about the different programs that are available to students on individualized education plans. And the Portuguese-speaking officers suggested an update on the MCAS exams and any differences between this year and a typical school year. So again, they're very tailored to exactly what those communities are specifically asking to hear about right now. The ELPAC officers who were elected in the fall have played a vital role in not only generating interest within the linguistic communities, but then also providing that feedback to us on the agenda items. They are incredibly diligent in everything they're doing to promote the EPS events and to connect families with each other and our schools. And we just want to thank them for taking on these roles in order to better support us and to create a greater bridge between us and our communities. So a reminder to our families that PEBT, the federal program created last year to provide food assistance during the pandemic, is going to continue through this summer. Families who have a PEBT card should keep it and continue to use it. We will pass on more information about the extension of the program when it is released by the Department of Transitional Assistance, or DTA. So the district's outreach efforts have been extensive and for the most part successful. Of our more than 7,000 students, more than 6,000 have accessed nutritional assistance since the pandemic began. Benefits which are stored on a debit card are about $100 per month. So we're now reaching out to approximately 500 of our families who have enrolled in the program and have access to funds that they need to use. So that's what we're working on right now. Another great thing about the PEBT program is that since all of our students are eligible, if a family does not need the benefit, they can actually use their PEBT card to purchase food for food pantries, which have provided critical services to our community during the pandemic. So as students transition back to school, families are encouraged to check their eligibility and to also apply for SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is not actually related to the pandemic. The mechanics of the two programs are similar. That is that families receive a card that can be used for food shopping on a monthly basis. So the PEBT and SNAP benefits are ones that our families should look into. And if for anybody who has any questions, they can visit dtaconnect.com or call the DTA Assistance Hotline at 877-382-2363 or Project Bread's Food Source Hotline at 800-645-8333. Or again, they can always just contact us and we will make sure to provide the information to them to get them connected with the DTA. And our final update is regarding our meals distribution. So now that full-time in-person teaching and learning has begun, we do have some changes to announce regarding our meals distribution program. So first and foremost, starting today, we began giving breakfast to students as they leave school for the next morning. So again, this breakfast is for the following day. Students will receive a breakfast on Friday afternoon for Monday. So we are doing this in large part from an operational standpoint. Simply, it is more orderly and safer for our school leaders to be able to allow the students to have their breakfast at home and to focus on our lunch period guidelines so that we can make sure that we're maintaining our COVID health and safety measures. Lunch will also be served every day while school is in session. We will be doing that and following all of the lunch protocols that have been established by school principals and leaders and the state. And, depending on our space considerations and the number of students in their classrooms, we will have students who are going to larger spaces in order to eat. And today, when I visited some of the schools, we originally planned that many of the students would eat in their classrooms. However, there have actually been many of our school leaders who've been able to provide the opportunity for students to safely go to the cafeteria or the gymnasium. We're also, because of the now lunch and breakfast that is being provided during the school day to our students who are in person, we're also changing the dates and times of our meals to go distribution. So this is for our remote students, and we want to make sure they can continue to access that. So starting today, we are distributing the breakfast and lunch every school day from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at the following locations that are listed on this slide that at Everett High School's front entrance, at the English School's front D entrance, at the Cavarian's back parking lot B entrance, at the Lafayette's front D entrance, at the Parlin School's back parking lot entrance, at the Webster's back entrance through the playground, and at the Whittier School's main entrance. So a remote meal distribution, and at remote meal distribution on Fridays, children will be provided with their meals for the next Monday and through the weekend. We also just want to remind everyone that children do not need to be present to pick up those meals for remote distribution, and parents and guardians can pick up meals on behalf of their children. And lastly, families do not need to go to their child's school in particular. They can pick up at whichever site is most convenient for them. All right, so shifting gears, here's our regular update on attendance. We are now approaching 3 consecutive months in which approximately 95% of our students are boasting daily attendance rates of 90 to 100%, which is great. So this chart shows that more than 1,400 of our students continue to have 100% attendance, while more than 4,100 more are in the 90 to 99% category. The chart on the right shows our daily absences, which continue to be consistent with our historical averages for absences. And obviously, as we move forward and our instructional models change, we will continue to closely monitor our attendance figures as students transition from full in-person teaching and learning or into full in-person teaching and learning to ensure that we are, reaching all of our students. So Everett COVID data continues to show the growing trend of daily positive cases ranging from the single digits to more than 40. We have seen an increase from our February lows, but our figures do continue to be lower than they were after the holidays. More specific information is in this next slide, where we focus on our 2 key metrics, the daily incidence rate and percent positivity. So our district is now in the red high-risk category for the first time since February, according to the criteria of both the state and the Centers for Disease Control. So we do view this as an important reminder that mitigation measures continue to be essential, that we have to remain vigilant. This means the use of face coverings and the consistent practice of our at least 3 feet of physical distancing. It also means using self-screening measures and staying at home if you are showing any symptoms. So the rise in cases are not, according to health experts, an indication that our schools are unsafe. So this is a trend that we are seeing all around Massachusetts. And from what we are hearing, Massachusetts, in seeing this increase in virus cases among those under, have been seeing these raises in virus cases among those under 30 in recent weeks. One obvious reason for this is obviously that more students are attending schools, educational collaboratives, special education programs, after school programs, et cetera. Another potential explanation for the rise in cases is that the Commonwealth's cost-effective and wide-ranging pool testing program has been operating in hundreds of schools. And so, as we test more, we identify more, which is good, but definitely raises our positivity rates. In published reports last week, Russell Johnston, who's the Senior Associate Commissioner at Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, said that what he would want parents to do is just to put this into the broader context, that school numbers going up does not mean that schools are not safe. In fact, that they are very safe. However, here in Everett, as we have done all school year, we will continue to monitor our metrics very closely and provide regular updates at these meetings. I think all year we have been very flexible and we have, we've adjusted as we needed to. And, I think that doesn't change as we enter this last stretch of the school year. And we do expect that, despite our most diligent efforts, we are going to have positive cases within our schools that do result in students having to temporarily return to remote learning. In fact, this has already occurred. And while it is disappointing and inconvenient, we are at least reassured, by the ability to provide in-person instruction where we can, and by the robust processes we have put into place to ensure that we're doing effective contact tracing, which is also relying on the fact that we are intentionally cohorting our students in a very consistent manner. So we as always, we try to provide some sort of hard data about what is happening in the Everett Public Schools. Here we have a breakdown of the percentage of students who returned to our substantially separate classrooms for in-person learning last week. The English, Lafayette, Webster, and Webster Extension all returned between 70 and 75% of their students. And, I think that 70% number is pretty telling district-wide. The lower percentages at the Devons and EHS in doing further research is attributable in large part to the health and safety considerations among our older cohorts of students. So those are the two schools that do have students who are in grades 9 through 12. So that's certainly something we want to consider as we are considering and deciding on a date for bringing back our high schoolers. So as of today, 70% of our students in grades K through 5 opted to return to school, while 30% are continuing with our remote model. So the straight numbers are 1,990 who are back in class physically, while 871 are at home. So when we presented the first round of K to 5 percentages on March 15th, the breakdown was 66-34. So we did actually see an uptick over the last 2 weeks of families saying yes to in-person learning. We have not found any great anomalies within this overall breakdown. We always do break down the numbers in multiple different ways. So, the numbers are not necessarily skewed by, say, an overwhelming response in one or two particular grade levels, nor are the percentages greatly differing from school to school. So there were nothing that stood out as something that we wanted to note for all of you. You will see differences, when you are walking through the classrooms from class to class. In fact, I was at a Parlin kindergarten classroom this morning where 100% of the students returned. So those percentages definitely change from classroom to classroom, but overall school-wide and grade-wide, it's about the same. And of the families who actually opted for in-person teaching and learning, 82% said that they will participate in voluntary testing programs we offer. So we did want to note that. So the percentage of parents who said yes greatly increased over the past 2 weeks, actually. So originally that number was 63% as we recorded it on March 15th. So again, we want to thank all our parents for being so amenable and continuing to update this information, as we know that we are all kind of assessing as we go and determining what is going to work best for our families and our students. And so we appreciate them constantly staying in communication with us and letting us know where they are and what they feel comfortable with. So I wanted to provide a quick update regarding our after-school program, which is understandably a key consideration for families who want to settle back into as traditional a work schedule as possible. So after school is also a vitally important part of our long-range planning and overall vision for our district as well. So, I have been, I think, vocal throughout the year in my reservations about after school programming ever since we started to implement our reopening plan, if for no other reason than it involves students moving among cohorts. So I have spoken to parents and teachers who are concerned about this fundamental, reality. And I'm also worried about what after school participation does to pool testing, as it is dependent on a consistent membership among groups. However, I've also heard from many people for whom after school is crucially important, a necessity even. So we're hearing it on both the ends of the spectrum. So in the end, because we are committed to providing the supports that our students and families need, we are in contact with the program for Kids Only regarding providing services to our students after school. And we do hope to solidify plans that will allow us to dismiss students directly from our school buildings to FKO buses as early as next week. I do want to dispel any rumors that existed that we would actually begin that process this week, as it does require a good deal of planning and collaboration. So first we need to, establish large-scale contact tracing protocols like we have done at a very small scale with Malden YMCA, for example. We also want to share and maintain information such as seating, pod organizational charts, student schedules, rosters. And then secondly, we really needed this week in order to ensure that the dozens of things that we have put into place are working as they were meant to. Because if they're not, we have this week to troubleshoot and fix them. So our school leaders were very clear. And we know that we wanted to respect our staff as well, that they need this week to monitor, assess, discuss every facet of our operation at the school and district level. This includes everything we do, including our dismissal procedures and processes. So after this week, I think we'll be far better positioned to help facilitate the process of safely connecting our students with an FKO employee once that final bell rings, and we will be working with them this week to solidify that. As we learned, long ago, that the COVID-related decisions rarely are coming without any concessions. So I do want to thank our families for their patience as we attempt to, metaphorically walk before we run. As a school system, it is our foremost responsibility to ensure that we are executing our game plan correctly and consistently. And I look forward to meeting with them this week to make sure that they will be a vigilant partner in helping us maintain our number one objective, which is, of course, to continue to offer full day in-person teaching and learning during this core school day to every student who wants it. And to end, I did want to talk about what families can expect in the next few weeks. So students in pre-kindergarten in grades 6, 7, and 8 can return for in-person teaching and learning 5 days a week beginning on Monday, April 26th. So schools will begin to distribute the learning choice form that was distributed to K to 5 earlier. So that form for 6 to 8 and pre-K will be distributed this week so that families can let us know if they will be returning to in-person instruction or if they will be remaining in remote learning. And we respectfully ask all pre-K and 6 to 8 students and guardians to make sure to fill out one form per student if you haven't received it from your school leaders by later this week to please reach out. K to 5 parents also, we just want to remind, I know I feel like I say this over and over, but I just want to make sure that everyone knows that K to 5 parents who decide that they do want to switch to remote learning from in-person learning always have the opportunity to do that. K to 5 parents who have decided that they want to switch from remote to in-person will have the chance to do so on April 26th with an enrollment form that will be coming out next week. So as a reminder, again, students can transition from in-person to remote at any time, but remote to in-person does require an enrollment process. We are still, as I mentioned before, awaiting DESE guidance concerning high school. So we continue to make preparations for our EHS students. And I think we will be in a position to respond to any directives from the state when they are released this month. But in the meantime, we are preparing an interest form that will be going out to our EHS students and families just to gauge interest in full-time learning among 9 through 12th graders. We think this form will greatly just help us from a planning and operational standpoint as we, pivot to the high school. Any pivot to the high school level will need to be made relatively quickly as we only have a few weeks left of school or a few months left of school. So again, we don't know if DESE will be as definitive about high school as they were about K to 8. Again, that's understandable given the fact that the health considerations are different for our older students than they are at the elementary level. And obviously we will share as much information as we receive about EHS in the coming weeks. But for now, we are very thrilled that our K to 5 classrooms are open, and we're equally excited about seeing our pre-kindergartners and our 6 to 8th graders coming back later this month. And I think that brings me to the end of my presentation. So thank you, as always, for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.